ask you about a column you wrote called "We Should Be Saluting the Gaza Strip." And you write, "Were it not for the Gaza Strip, the occupation would have been long forgotten. Were it not for the Gaza Strip, Israel would have erased the Palestinian issue from its agenda and continued on blithely with its crimes and annexations, with its routine, as if 4 million people were not living under its heel. Were it not for the Gaza Strip, the world would also have forgotten. Most of it already has. This is why we must now salute the Gaza Strip, mainly the spirit of the Gaza Strip, the only one that is still breathing life into the desperate and lost cause of the Palestinian struggle for liberation." Well, on October 7th, this is the argument that Hamas made for its incursion into Israel, so that they would not be forgotten, because at that moment you were having all these noises about Saudi Arabia recognizing Israel and the Abraham Accords. But I thought that was a really great column. But I want you to talk about what it is that you were writing about there.
I'm quite astonished. I didn't remember this column. I'm quite astonished that I had the guts to write it and Haaretz had the guts to publish it. But seriously speaking, it's very clear when the Palestinians sat silent, were passive, didn't resist, nobody cared about them. We had the 21st years of the occupation between 67 and 87. Things were very calm. Everyone was sure in Israel that the occupation will last forever. It became totally normalized. They clean our streets. At this stage, they were allowed to work in Israel. They clean our streets. They build our buildings. They pave our roads. And they will never have citizenship. The only people in the world without any citizenship of any state. And that's a normal phenomenon. It took the resistance of the first Intifada, which was relative to the other uprisings, the most innocent Intifada of stones and burning tires. But this first Intifada, 87, 88, 89, brought us first to Madrid and then to Oslo. Without this, nobody would bother at all. Well, there's no problem. Why should we bother? If it's not broken, you ain't fix it, or how you say. Nothing is broken. Nothing was broken. We taught the Palestinians that their only way to achieve something, not only the Palestinians, the Arab state, the only way to achieve something is only by force. I don't have to recall the example of the Yom Kippur War, of the 73 war. Sadat was there, called for a peace treaty with Israel. Golda Meir said no. And then came the war with 2,700 Israeli soldiers killed. And then Israel was ready to give up the Egyptian occupied territories. Without the war, Israel would have never done it. So the message is, if you want to achieve anything from us, only by force. And the message for the world is the same. If you want the world to care about you, raising your voice is not enough. You have to take measures. You have to take actions. And unfortunately, many times, violent ones, aggressive ones, and many times even barbarian ones, like on the 7th of October. But is there another way for them to remind their existence and their problem? I don't know about one.
Well, you write, the way of terror is the only way open to the Palestinians to fight for their future. The way of terror is the only way for them to remind Israel, the Arab states, and the world of their existence. They have no other way. Israel has taught them this. If they don't use violence, everyone will forget about them, and then a little later, only through terrorism will they be remembered. Only through terrorism will they possibly attain something. One thing is certain: if they put down their weapons, they are doomed. You're talking about terrorism.
What other tools do they have? They don't have an army. Believe me, they would rather have a F-35 or F-16 pushing the button and killing masses of Israelis. They would love to have it. They don't have it. The terror is and was always the weapon of the weak ones and the weapons of those who struggle for their existence, including the Israeli Jewish movement before the establishment of Israel. What was blowing up the King David Hotel? What was putting bombs in markets and in buses? This was the only mean that they had then. The Zionists, the first active Zionists, the underground organizations, the Stern Gang and the Etzel and the Haganah. That's the weapon. They don't have any other one. And it sounds horrible. I know it sounds horrible, but it is horrible. Because look at Gaza. If Gaza does not resist, anyone talked in the last years about lifting the siege over Gaza? Anyone mentioned the siege? 2.3 million people in a cage? This would last forever. Nobody mentioned, nobody was bothered by it. Everything was silent and everything was normalized. It was normalized that 2.3 million people, that there is a legitimacy to keep them in the cage forever. So what alternative do they have, for God's sake?